So shall we begin? Thus is the meaning of creation veiled, for without context reads the cosmic page. Its signs stare at us like an unknown script, as if appeared screened by a foreign tongue, or code of splendor signs without a key, a portion of a parable sublime. This is always true also. You see, we see things without the context. We have to know the whole to understand the part. But we just see moments. We see fragments of truth and take it for the entire, absorb it and this is the real truth, this is the whole truth, I saw this is happening. But we have to see the purpose behind, what is holding it up. It's like reading a page from a book and you don't know the book, or you don't know the chapter. The page doesn't make really it makes some sense, but it's completely, distorted. We distort reality according to that fits our understanding. So this is the whole thing. It is me, its creation, the significance of creation is therefore not understood by us. Because it seems that things are created just to be uncreated, to be destroyed. What sense does it make? For without context, the cosmic page, as if the divine has created a whole scripture. The universe is something he has written out from within. Like a writer writes from inside him. He puts his own nature in the book. The universe is himself. The divine is the universe, and creation is nothing but he. It has come out of him. But we just see the outer manifestation. We don't see. This is why it is read without cost. The page, the cosmos, is a book which he has written from within his nature. It is part of him. Its signs stare at us like an unknown script. Therefore, if I don't know the whole significance, the writing is not really even, let alone understood, it's not even believed in. What is this? What are all these things that seem to come and go? It unknowns, like, its signs stare at us like an unknown script, as if appeared screened by a foreign tongue which I don't know. For me, it doesn't really has no meaning. You show me a page of Chinese writing, I say it's very beautiful, but I don't know what it is. Is it a writing? Is it a design? Is it saying something? Or is it? I can't understand. Now this is one of the greatest problems. Things have to fit our understanding. Truth has to come down to the measure of our understanding. And our understanding is small. So we reduce things to the size of our understanding. Or code of splendor signs without a key. If I know the alphabet, say the Chinese alphabet, the writing starts to have a significance, but I don't. So that is in order to understand a message, I have to know the code. The alphabet is a code. Everything is a code. Each thing has its own value, and I don't have that knowledge. This is, again and again, this is where we require another deeper knowledge of things. We live guided by the mind, whose knowledge is very shallow, very superficial. It sees just what is happening on the surface. In order to know the truth behind, that is the whole canto, the secret knowledge, you have to have an identification with the consciousness that is at work behind all things. At least we can make an effort. Otherwise, it's just a portion. You might say it's a parable. A parable is a simple, apparently simple story whose significance is very profound. But it is put in very simple terms. It's not necessarily a story with a moral, not necessarily. But it recounts something that appears to be very simple. The world appears to be a play of material energy, in which at some point you have the life force and the mind force. Where they come from, we don't know. Where does the energy come from? The material energy that sustains this creation, we don't know its origin. So you say all this is matter. So it is. But where does this energy originate? If I don't know that, then I don't know anything. That is again and again something that Mother has repeated. If you don't know the all, you don't know anything. And you cannot know. Knowledge is acquired, but wisdom is lived. You have to become that. When you become that knowledge, then you are wise. Until then, we are very, very foolish. We don't know anything. So, this it, which he now is talking about, is creation. It wears to the perishable creature's eyes the grandeur of a useless miracle. It's a vast creation. We don't know why. Because we can't understand. Things come, things go. Why make an effort? For what is all this made? Useless miracle. Wasting itself that it may last a while. Wasting because the energy is spent. The energy is recovered. You breathe in, you breathe out. You breathe in the universal force, the energy. You breathe out that force to some degree. And this is really what our existence is all about. Getting and spending. We get something, we spend it, that energy comes out. But it doesn't really tell us why we are. This is a very famous line which is there in, I think, one of Wordsworth's poems. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. The world is too much with us. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. We don't realize, we just breathe in and breathe out. Everything we acquire, desires are for satisfaction. And then they don't give us the satisfaction. We run after something else. But why? The central question is not really taken into account. What is the purpose? Wasting itself that it may last a while, a river that can never find its sea. The goal is the sea. The goal, the river winds maybe, goes here and there, winding, but eventually we have to go into eternity. Man lives in time. Time is often compared to a river. It flows. It flows where? Into the eternal. The sea is infinite. The sea is eternal. Man doesn't find the eternal. He lives in time. He lives in seconds and minutes and hours. But he doesn't know what is the eternal. It is as if he has to give up something in order to find something else. Like you have to give up your body to find identity with the soul. What is the body made of? The same substance, the same energy, in a different sheath, in a different composition. But it's the same original principle, the creative principle. The composition may be different. It runs, this creation runs, therefore, through life and death on an edge of time. A fire in the night is its mighty actions blaze. Now and then, night blazes with flashes of vision. Night is ignorance, night is absolute, you might say, inconscience, but there are moments of revelation, moments of vision, of intuition. This shows that there is something mighty behind the ignorance. even momentarily, if we can open or receive a flash of vision or revelation, it means it is possible. If one human being can overcome his littleness, it means it can be done. Mostly we don't. We don't do it, we don't make the effort. But
on an edge of time.
on an edge of time, it's like as if you move on the edge, and the time has a limit. Though it may seem long, it is a limit. And it may fall into nothingness. You walk on the edge. Nothingness is death. Nothingness is dissolution. You're always moving as if you are avoiding dissolution, destruction. You live just what is the first, you might say, aim of existence, of survival, isn't it? And survival, the opposite will be absence of survival, dissolution. You get this completely destroyed. So this is as if this, from moment to moment, we just say, I want to be. That is the first principle of any living creature, be it a bacteria or be it a human being. Just wants to be. Why do I want to be? Why does the worm want to live? He doesn't have a goal. He doesn't have a conscious manifestation of any dream, but he wants to live. Everything wants to live. A plant wants to live. A human being wants to live, though you ask, why do you want to live? What are you living for? He said, I don't know. So it's just that. The survival is our first basic instinct. It's a push, it's a drive. And we don't want to lose that. If you lose it, then you go into dissolution. You go into death. You're walking on the edge. You might fall into some kind of a abyss and might come out. You're not sure whether you'll come up again. Now, sometimes in this darkness, in this ignorance, in this helplessness, there are flashes. Flashes of vision, of revelation, of opening to something else. This is its mighty action. In this world of creation, it is not only darkness, it is not only something that leads us to destruction. There are moments that raise us out of our smallness. It does happen. That is our deepest need. That means you can. If I can do it once, I can do it again. This is yoga. This is what the sage tries. If you have had a vision, if you have an experience of another plane, even if it's for a short-lived moment, as Nolinita says, if you have it for a second, he puts it in his own typical way, you're finished. Once and for all. It's over for you. You are bound to be connected with that divine force. If you have, even for a moment, got in touch with the mother's force, it will come again and again. But not when you ask, not when you want, not necessarily the way you want it to come to you. It has its own ways. This is our deepest need, to join once more what now is parted, opposite and twain. What is parted? Matter and spirit, body and soul. To make one an expressive expression of the other. Matter has to be an expression of the spirit. And the spirit has to be an expression of not something ethereal that belongs to some far-off plane, but manifested in this world. To spiritualize our life does not mean to withdraw from the bodily or physical life, but to manifest this spirit, the consciousness, the divine, in body and life and mind. This is the central theme of the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. You can come in touch with the soul, others have, and feel so satisfied that you stay in that inner union and give up all connection with the outer life. But according to Sri Aurobindo and the mother, this has to be manifested in every part of our being. And our being is also matter. Matter is also created by Him. Earth is His. Just as the soul is His, earth also is He. There is nothing that is not He. And why should you give up one? You should give up the ignorance, the inertia, the darkness, the hostility. Those have to be wiped off. And you find that matter is extremely innocent. It is really something that is asking to be changed. The earth mother toils across the sands of time, he said earlier. She's asking her children to liberate her from this bondage to darkness. But the children say, you give up connection with the lower existence. The lower existence is not earth. The lower existence is the refusal, the inconscience, the ignorance that covers our nature, our consciousness. Therefore, we have made, he says, this is our deepest need to join once more what now is parted, opposite and twain, remote in sovereign spheres that never meet. We made two groups, two categories. Twain is two categories. And they are almost antagonistic to each other here. I remember Kirit in our philosophy class, life divine class, he said, what is matter? Never mind. What is mind? No matter. So it's the same thing, what is spirit and what is matter. One is not the other, that's all. But one is the other. So we must remote in sovereign spheres that never meet, or fronting like far poles of night and day. We have created this opposition of night and day. Night is the mother of day. Day comes out of night. Why should they be put in opposite camps? Light is born after night. And why then is night dark? Night is also a divine aspect. Night is not dark. The darkness is in our eyes. We don't open our eyes, so we see darkness. If we know how to look at things, we won't see darkness. We'll see light everywhere. The same principle. We must fill, therefore the next line, we must fill the immense lacuna we have made. We have made a huge, big gap, separating one from the other. Re-wed the closed, finite, lonely consonant with the open vowels of infinity. You have two vastnesses on either side. Vowels are always open, aren't they? A and E and O, they are really wide open sounds. We are small. Consonants are closed. It's a P or D or whatever. You have to close your mouth, your lips to make a sound. So this sense of something limited, closed, finite, that separates two infinities. The two infinity is the infinity of infinite light and infinite darkness. They have to be re-wed. They have to be joined in our limited and closed consciousness. So our consciousness has to open. We can take, for example, I often do, the word ego, which is the cause of the problem, or many of our problems. The central letter is a consonant, but the two others are vowels. They are open, they are wide open, but it's the G in the center.
G in the center goes.
It's this. This is the thing. I don't believe this. I don't understand this. My mind does not accept this, so this is not true.
Then don't use your mind.
Huh?
Then don't use your mind.
Exactly. You should. That's there. It's true. It's very true. They don't have a problem if you take certain other sub-mental beings like a plant.
Yeah.
It doesn't really complain. It climbs up to the sun, and then the day it has to fall into the soil, it does. Without moaning and groaning and making a fuss. It goes down. It goes back to its mother and then climbs up again as another tree. He said, this is a process.
One of the sages of India, I don't remember his name, he was asked, how can you resume your philosophy? And he thought a little while and he said, I don't mind.
So we reread the closed, finite, lonely consonant. The lonely consonant, I think, is what made me think of the ego. We are always separated. We think of ourselves as separate units. We are part of the infinite. On either side, there is infinity. A hyphen must connect matter and mind. First, you start with that. Even in our belief, in our understanding, in the mind, you say matter is energy. This is the first chapter of the Life Divine. Matter is energy. And energy is not material. So matter is not material, basically. Then why do we say matter is dense, solid? You break up matter and you get pure energy. A hyphen must connect matter and mind. The narrow isthmus of the ascending soul. From matter to climb to mind, mind and spirit. There is an isthmus. It's a very, you know what an isthmus is? No? It's a narrow stretch of land that separates two vast oceans.
Where's the origin?
Huh?
Where did the origin of isthmus?
I don't know, Greek I guess. But I don't know Greek.
It feels Greek.
Huh?
It feels Greek.
Greek, whatever. But it's like in the Isthmus of Panama. It was an isthmus separating two oceans. They cut it open, so that is a connecting.
Let the water go or flow.
In geography we read. In geography we read it.
Yes, geography you get this. But we have this sense of separation. I am me and you are you. And I am human and he is divine. And there is no connection. From far I might try to worship him, I might try to adore him, I may put his photograph on my wall, but it still will not be he. I have to become him. There has to be a connecting that is yoga. Yoga means union. You join. You don't make separations. You join yourself with the universe, you join yourself with the transcendent, you join yourself with yourself. Inside you also, there are different levels. So we must renew the secret bond in things. Behind this universe of such multiplicity and diversity, there is that same one consciousness. That is the secret bond. I don't know if you have read that little poem, God, by Sri Aurobindo.
Yes.
It ends like that. Thou who disdainest not the worm to be, nor even the clod. Therefore I know by that humility that thou art God. You are above, you are below. You don't disdain, you don't think clod, mud, dirt is unworthy of you. You are also there. We must renew the secret bond in things. Our hearts recall the lost divine idea. The idea, the capital I, is usually that which precedes a manifestation. When you do something, before you do it, it comes to you as a conception in your mind, a thought, a plan, a form. The form is clear in your head. The form has not yet taken shape in the world in front of you. But it is clear, I have an idea, and that idea is clearly worked out, then it projects itself into expression. This is what the artist does. He first has the idea. So from the world of form, you go to the world of the formless. The formless prepares the form. A thought prepares the writing of the poet or the person who writes. Everything. So why do we make this differentiation? Reconstitute the perfect word. Unite the alpha and the omega in one sound. the two first and last letters of the alphabet, the Greek alphabet, this one I know. But it's one sound. Then shall the spirit and nature be at one. This is the whole secret. The human and the divine, nature and the spirit, matter and soul, all these things which we put in small separate compartments, they are all, for our convenience, sometimes it is simpler to start by putting them in a different order, but behind it is that same wisdom that is sustaining all. It's the same force, the same. And therefore, you have beautifully spoken by Sri Aurobindo. I don't know if you have read that, his Uttarpada speech also. There he sees, in prison he saw assassins and criminals and people who seemed to have blackened their consciousness, but he saw the divine in them, the beautiful light that was shining inside them. They were not aware, but he said, "You are this." There is all these little notions of wickedness and bad, you might say, low inferior characters. They have just wrapped themselves up in something that refuses to allow the inner light to emerge. It is there in everything, in everyone. That's why when the child is born, the child is innocent, he is pure. There is no wrapping. As the child grows, the world teaches him things, and many of them are things that really harm. They cover his nature with all kinds of different notions, and all that simplicity, the purity, the beauty slowly fades away. But it's always there. It never goes away.
They hit him. They hit the little baby to get the embiotic fluid out. There's got to be another way. It should just hold them and let it come out instead of hit the baby and say, "Welcome to Earth."
Yes.
That's the first.
No, the baby is fine, but it's baby, if he's allowed to grow on his own, he can't really, he has to be taught. He has to have, he won't be able to fit in his, you might be part of the
Group.
Yes, he can't, not the group. He won't be able to really relate to the world in which he is.
Right.
He has to have a certain amount of education. One needs education. But the real meaning of the word education is to bring out. To bring out what is inside. What is inside is this light. So all forms of education should be something that brings out of him his higher possibilities. Instead, it is very practical. So we teach him practical methods which do not talk about the higher possibilities, but possibilities that will lead him to external success or things that has become so common.
Right.
But people are becoming aware slowly that this is not the right form of education. That is. So then shall the spirit and nature be at one. Two are the ends of the mysterious plan. This is the plan. One is darkness, one is light. They seem to be at opposite ends of the spectrum. And yet, there was this mysterious plan, the idea he speaks of, the divine idea. Before manifestation, before creation, there was nothing. There was only he. There was the supreme Brahman. Out of the Brahman was projected his creative energy, the Om that we talk about. Two are the ends of the mysterious plan. In the wide, signless ether of the self, this is the Brahman. There is no time, no space, no creation, no manifestation. There is only that. In the unchanging silence, white and nude, aloof, resplendent like gold dazzling suns, veiled by the ray no mortal eye can bear. The spirits bare and absolute potencies burn in the solitude of the thoughts of God. They have not yet been projected into play. The Supreme alone is there, and all his powers are inside him. And each power is brilliant because he is light. So these potencies, these forces, they are unmanifest. And then at some point he projects them out of himself. This is the description Mother gives, as is there in the chart she has made. That is the one. And then from that, the projecting, the power that will manifest the divine, that is she, the creative energy, that is he and she. And for what reason, he doesn't say why, but he wants to create a universe which shall reflect him eventually. Everyone who is really a great artist is reflected in his art. So the universe should reflect the Creator. So he's projected his powers into the world of manifestation. So you have powers of beauty and light and love and knowledge and force and peace and all the other principles. They are burning like gold dazzling suns, waiting for them to take shape in the world. A rapture and a radiance and a hush, delivered from the approach of wounded hearts. These are the original principles. It's not the gods. They will later become gods. The gods are sometimes approached by wounded hearts. When you are in pain and you are in trouble, and you ask for some kind of guidance and blessings and help and protection, that is when they have come near you. But in the origin, they are completely cut off. Because if they did come down to your level or our level, they would not be absolute. They are simply projections of the absolute. And the absolute has no preference and no particular characteristic. Pure peace is pure. Pure love doesn't need a beloved. It's just the principle of love, and so on. So there's a very beautiful image here. These principles, these are the original gods, delivered from the approach of wounded hearts, denied to the idea that looks at grief. Because if there is grief, there can be compassion, or there can be anger. This is the beginning of diversity. When you are separated from the origin, then you are wounded, you get hurt, you feel pain. Remote from the force that cries out in its pain, the force that is rising up from the world of ignorance and wants to manifest light and wants to manifest truth and finds it impossible. I want to grow, but I can't. I want to manifest a light, but I am too resistant to light. This is man's problem. He is caught between these two tendencies, something that wants, something that fails to manifest his wants. In his inalienable bliss, they live. These absolute potencies. They live, each one is an embodiment of perfection. So you have the great gods. They are completely undisturbed by human suffering. Untouched. Immaculate in self-knowledge and self-power, calm they repose on the eternal will. When the Divine, the Supreme, will give them the command to manifest themselves, they will do so. It is as if they don't have any sense of personal preference and choice. Like, if I am given a role, I want to play that role. These gods have been each one given a role, but they don't want to play their role until the Supreme, the Absolute, says, now you go down, you manifest. Whereas we, when we have been given some work or role, we want to, if you are interested, you want to fulfill that role, you want to be in a hurry, I want to go down, I want to do this, I want to do that. There are gods like that. On the lower levels, they are there. They have their demands, they have their conditions, whereas these highest gods don't. They just wait for the absolute obedience, absolute surrender. So they repose on the eternal will. Only His law they count and Him obey. Whatever the Supreme wants, they have no goal to reach, no aim to serve. They don't know why they have been created. They don't need to know. Whenever they have been sent down to earth, they do their work. And then they retire. In that sense, they seem to be unkind. They don't seem to be touched by human pain or human suffering. If the divine says, wipe off creation, it is not well done, we'll start again, they do it. But a lesser God will say, oh, poor things, all these creatures who have struggled and suffered, you have to do something for them. These seem to be unaffected. Therefore, we have periodical, huge destructions. And it's because we cannot constantly, perhaps, repair an old house. At some point, you have to be broken down and start again. Start fresh, start again. So implacable. In their timeless purity, all barter or bribe of worship they refuse. Describing worship as bribery. Which it is. I give you my worship, my adoration, you please give me your blessing. It is a form. If I say, I give you all of myself, you give me whatever you want, or don't give me anything if you think it is not necessary. That is the ideal offering. You give and ask for nothing. Ask for no blessing, ask for no protection, ask for no help. If required, they will give. These forces will give you what is required. But you don't ask. But that is not the human method. I bow with a prayer and I ask. And I hope to be given what I am praying for. If I am sincere, if I am full of devotion. This is the human relationship with the divine. This is not the divine mother. The divine mother is different. These are the divine, these universal forces. They are untouched by manifestation. They are untouched by human expression. Because if they were, they would not be perfect. When you are touched by somebody, you have got connected with that person. So if these gods were really close to us, they would become a little bit like us. That's one aspect of the divine. This aspect is that they are completely untouched. Therefore, they all barter and bribe of worship they refuse, unmoved by cry of revolt and ignorant prayer. Both. We are angry with them or we pray to them. Both are simply a form of bribery and barter. They reckon not our virtue and our sin, which is what we often associate with religion. Reckon is really calculate. Basically, it's a form of calculation. They bend not to the voices that implore. They hold no traffic with error and its reign. They are guardians of the silence of the truth. That's all. They are not. It's like a guard who is there doing his work of being a guardian. Somebody who wants to enter the house or may not want to enter the house, it's not the guard's business to allow some and not allow others. They are untouched, undisturbed. They are keepers of the immutable decree, the divine law. A deep surrender is their source of might. See, this is so beautiful. They are not powers in themselves. They have no right to protect, they have no right to guide, because they are simply expressions of Him. If you want to worship only Him. And He can't be worshipped. The Supreme Brahman cannot be worshipped. You can only become Him. You can lose yourself in Him, but you cannot worship Him. Because you are not there. In that transcendent world, you are not there. Only He is there. A deep surrender is their source of might. A still identity, their way to know. You can become them, or they know that they are part of Him. It's like a ray of the sun. The ray doesn't exist by itself. It's a projection of the sun. If you want the light, you go to the sun. Motionless is their action like a sleep. Motionless is their action like a sleep. At peace regarding the trouble beneath the stars, this world of duality and division where there is rise and fall, and darkness and light, joy and pain, they watch it. This is the witness consciousness. They watch, untroubled, like a pure witness, takes no sides, has no opinions, he just sees things for what they are. Deathless, watching the works of death and chance, immobile, seeing the millenniums pass, untouched by the long map of fate unrolls, they look on our struggle with impartial eyes, and yet without them cosmos could not be. That is the beautiful aspect, this totality of that wisdom. These forces are expressions of the Supreme, like projections of His consciousness. And without the projection, you could not have a cosmos, you could not have a creation. The creation is an expression of His consciousness. Should we stop there today? It's a little unusual for us to think of the divine, one aspect of the divine, who seems not to reply to whatever we are asking. This one aspect is this.
I look at that as the architecture that allows the cosmos, he says in the last line,
Yes.
that allows the cosmos to be, otherwise it would not be. So even those powers to me seem like
They are,
pillars or the
yes, they are holding up creation.
that opens up for him to pour himself into.
They are just the original creative forces. That's all.
Right, that's the beginning of the...
You can have some lesser light or lesser love or lesser knowledge and then moving towards greater knowledge. In them, there is no lesser.
No,
They are
it's
complete.
pure.
They are complete. And when something is complete, then it is pure.
Right,
It's absolute.
no problem. Wouldn't be here probably without that.
So the next page continues with this, but he ends with saying, a mighty guidance leads us still through all.